Well, I really think that people are seeing the benefits of this freedom technology that is Bitcoin. And look, I don't think that Putin will suddenly adopt Bitcoin for the country because his government wants ultimate control over money, just like all central banks. But I think this crisis is raising the profile for Bitcoin even more, which is already the dominant and most decentralized digital asset in existence. You might have heard Russia announce today that they're working on their own global currency for trade in response to these sanctions. Ukraine's government just a couple days ago were soliciting for Bitcoin donations. So, I mean, the transformation and really, in my opinion, the fracturing of the global monetary system is upon us. And I think we have to remember that the people that are most impacted by these conflicts, these monetary policies, are the working citizens of any country. The debasement of the currency, the inflation, and the ripple effects of these sanctions and war really hit those people, the working class, the hardest. And now with Bitcoin, we have a form of money that is a store of value that cannot be confiscated. It's borderless, it's permissionless, it's censorship resistant. And between those bank runs and ATM runs that we've seen in both Russia and Ukraine over the past few weeks, but also a few weeks ago, the bank freezes in Canada, it's becoming clear that holding your money in a bank that's ultimately linked to the government that can freeze your assets and prevent you from accessing your savings when you need it the most, it's becoming more risky. We've seen it in democratic and authoritarian nations. So I think this is almost a commercial for Bitcoin playing on a global stage. Yeah, well, I think what's important to know is that these transactions between Bitcoin wallets can't be stopped because, again, they're out of the purview of the government and any central authority. And I really think that we should all be paying attention to what's happening right now in Eastern Europe because, in effect, in my opinion, President Putin is shaking the very foundation upon which U.S. global dominance is built, which is that the U.S. dollar is the global reserve currency. We are the petrodollar. And if you dig into these sanctions, I heard earlier in the last segment, you'll see that energy is specifically carved out of those sanctions. But more importantly, Russia has almost been preparing for these types of sanctions and economic actions for years because they've beefed up their reserves with $600 billion in gold and foreign assets. They've been working on their own SWIFT system along with China. So they've been strategizing ways to ditch the dollar. We're understanding that they're moving to regulate as opposed to ban cryptocurrency. And President Putin announced in January that he recognizes his country's competitive advantage when it comes to Bitcoin mining because they're the center of so much energy and so much of the hash rate, the computing power for Bitcoin is centered in Russia. So Putin is definitely playing a game of chess here, and it seems he's been calculating this move for years. He's been preparing his country financially. And what's sad is our monetary policies here in the U.S. allowed the dollar to become vulnerable to this. So again, people are looking for different ways, different safe havens, and Bitcoin is certainly one of them that you can move across borders with without anyone knowing how much you have.